The media dialogue will be led by the chairperson of the subcommittee on peace and stability, David Mahlobo, and NEC member and Thabang Makwetla. The policy discussion documents were initially released to the public on the 20th of May as part of preparations for the upcoming National Policy Conference. For more on the story, let's cross live now to our colleague Natasha Phiri. Natasha, what are we hearing from the African National Congress this morning?
Well, very good morning to you, Desiree, and of course to our SABC viewers. The briefing is just about to start any time from now, 10 o'clock. And as you've correctly cited, that those two NEC members, Mr. Mahlobo, David Mahlobo and Thabang Makwetla, will be engaging members of the media in regards to, these two maintenance of the discussion documents of the ANC, mainly peace and stability and the balance of forces. But just also reading through these documents, which are actually 184 pages long, Desiree, I think what also caught my attention here under peace and stability was the fight against corruption. It comes at a very interesting time where certain charges were actually laid against ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa. And let me just read out what the fight against corruption actually has, Desiree. It says that those officials involved in illegal activities and those in leadership positions have been strongly suspected of wrongdoing, who have been repeatedly reported by the public for malpractice, and who are holding important officers. A step-aside policy must be implemented without fail. Now, Desiree, like I said, comes at an interesting time where charges of, money laundering, kidnapping, and corruption have been opened against ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa by the former spy boss, Arthur Fraser. And we now know that the recent developments that President Ramaphosa has voluntarily presented himself before the ANC's Integrity Commission over this criminal complaint that has been laid against him. It would be interesting to hear what the ANC has to say in regards to this, because as we know that in times past, about a month ago, the ANC has actually strengthened its step-aside policy and step-aside resolution, saying that any member of the ANC who faces criminal charges may not be able to stand for position. This comes as we've been seeing the various regional conferences and provincial conferences and the elective conference of the ANC that will take place in December this year. Another one, is the balance of forces. Under the balance of forces, it talks about the state and talks about one singular development, Desiree, which has had negative impact, on the state, that being the July unrest that we saw last year, where over 330 people had lost their lives. We've seen several arrests there, and these are just some of, the maintenance of the policy documents that we will be looking out for. Also, the issue of the porous borders as well, how the ANC intends to come up with solutions to actually, control our borders. But of course, as SABC News, we will be on top of the story, giving you all the latest developments and updates when those two NEC members will be engaging members of the media. And of course, this comes at a crucial time ahead of the ANC's policy conference that will be taking place in July. Desiree.
Natasha, as they deliberate over these policy documents, there has been aspects of this process where the public has been invited to also give inputs. How does this particular part of the process work?
Well, Desiree, we will actually pose that question to those various NEC members. But I do remember, the Treasurer General over this weekend, the past weekend, when we were in Polokwane covering the 10th Provincial Conference of the ANC, they're imploring ANC members to actually read these documents because they will be discussed at, their various provincial conferences. And of course, here in Nasrec, of course, like you've correctly cited there, members of the public are welcome to comment on these policy documents, but it's not we're not so sure on what platform specifically. So this will be one of the questions that we raise to these two NEC members.